216th Inaugural Lecture Series of the University of Benin, to be delivered by Professor CHUKWUENWENIWE Jonathan EBOKA. Topic: that they may have good quality drugs for improved quality of life. May I humbly invite the Registrar, O.A. Oshudi, Mrs., to introduce the Vice-Chancellor and members of the Vice-Chancellor's concession. The Registrar.
Distinguished invitees, you are all welcome to the 216th Inaugural Lecture Series of the University of Benin. Please permit me to stand on the existing protocol already observed by the University PRO. It's my rare privilege and honor to introduce the Vice-Chancellor's entourage, which is led by the Vice-Chancellor, Professor F.F.O. Orumwense, who is ably represented by the DVC academic, Professor M. Akin. We also have the Deputy Vice-Chancellor at Kenwan Campus, Professor Joel Abolagba. We have the WASA, Dr. V.U. Imakwe, who is ably represented by Mr. R.E. Ero. We have the University Librarian, Dr. Luke Obasui, who is ably represented by Dr. F.E. Issa. On the other side of the dais, we have Provost Deans and Directors. We have the Provost College of Medical Sciences, Professor E. Obiasu. We have the Dean School of Postgraduate Studies, Professor F.E. Okene, who is ably represented by Professor D.N. Deko. We have the Host Dean, Faculty of Pharmacy, Professor M.U. Umwamu. We have the Dean, Faculty of Agriculture, Professor M.A. Bamikode. We have the Dean, Faculty of Arts, Professor Eji Erabi. We have the Dean, School of Dentistry, Professor M.A. Sede. We have the Dean, Faculty of Environmental Sciences, Professor P.S. Ogedengbe. We have the Dean, Faculty of Life Sciences, Professor C.E. Okaka. We also have the Dean, Faculty of Management Sciences, Professor O.J. Ilaboya. We have the Dean, School of Medicine, Professor W.E. Sado. We have the Dean, Faculty of Physical Sciences, Professor A.P. Obiagwe. We also have directors. We have Director, Center for Part-Time Programs, Professor Mrs. K.A. Igafona. We also have Director, Students, Guidance and Counseling, Professor Mrs. G.I. Osaido, who is ably represented by Mrs. C.M. Anyam. We also have Acting Director, Institute of Child Health, Dr. D. Mwanyari. It is now my pleasure to call on the Vice-Chancellor to introduce the lecturer of the day. Mr. Vice-Chancellor, sir.
The Vice-Chancellor is unavoidably absent, but he sends his greetings and just read his speech here today. This is an address by the Vice-Chancellor, Professor Faraday Osase Orumwense, and the introduction of the lecturer, Professor CHUKWUENWENIWE Jonathan EBOKA, on this occasion of the 216th Inaugural Lecture of the University of Benin, delivered this day, 6th June 2019, at the Akin Deko Auditorium of the University of Benin. While I want to stand on the existing protocol that has been established, I want to recognize the following persons for I read the address. The principal officers of the University of Benin, members of the Senate, Provost College of Medical Science, deans of faculties, director of institutes, professors and members of council here present, my Lord Spiritual and Temple, staff and the great students of the University of Benin, gentlemen of the press, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I welcome you all to the 216th Inaugural Lecture Series of the University of Benin. Today's lecture is the 69th lecture to be delivered in my tenure as Vice-Chancellor of this university, and the 14th to be delivered by the Faculty of Pharmacy. You will recall that on the 22nd of May 2019, Mr. Godwin Emefiele, the governor of the Central Bank of this country, was in this university to deliver a thought-provoking, third eminent lecture of the university of this university titled Beyond the Global Financial Crisis, Monetary Policy Under Global Uncertainty. The occasion attracted men and women from all walks of life. I want to use the opportunity to further appreciate members of the eminent lecture committee for the success of that event. Ladies and gentlemen, it is now my honor to introduce the lecturer for today. He is Professor CHUKWUENWENIWE Jonathan EBOKA. The title of his lecture is that they may have good quality drugs for improved quality of life. Professor CHUKWUENWENIWE Jonathan EBOKA was born on the 27th of June 1949 to the family of Chief Okafor Young EBOKA of Aurumense and Mrs. Fenuku Titi Rhoda EBOKA, Ni Ezagu of Owerri, both in Ika Northeast Local Government Area of Delta State. He attended several primary schools in Aurumense, Umnede, and Owerri, before proceeding to Ika Grammar School, Agbo, for his secondary school education, which he finished with Division 1 pass in the West African School Certificate Examination in 1968. He then proceeded to St. Anthony's Model College, Iburuku, for the higher school certificate, which he completed in 1970. In 1971, he gained admission to the University of Ife, now Obafemi Awolowo University, Ile-Ife, to study chemistry at undergraduate level on federal government scholarship, and completed the program in 1974. After the mandatory National Youth Service Program, he joined the services of the University of Benin as graduate assistant in the Department of Pharmaceutical Chemistry, Faculty of Pharmacy. In 1976, he proceeded to the world-renowned School of Pharmacy, University of Wisconsin-Madison, USA, under the University of Benin Staff Development Program to study pharmacy at postgraduate level. Here he obtained his Master of Science and Doctor of Philosophy degrees in pharmacy in 1979 and 1981 respectively. Thereafter, he returned to the University of Benin and rose through the ranks to become professor in 2006. His area of research interest are pharmaceutical chemistry and pharmaceutical analysis. Professor EBOKA has been head of department for several years in the Faculty of Pharmacy. He has held other positions and served in various committees within and outside the University of Benin, such as member University of Benin Research and Publication Unit in 2016 to date, member University of Benin Security Committee 2016 to date, and the Senate Representative School of Postgraduate Studies, University of Benin from 2010 to 2012. Professor EBOKA has also served as an assessor, external examiner, facilitator, moderator, and resource person to several organizations and member of several accreditation panels at undergraduate and postgraduate level in many universities within and outside Nigeria. He has successfully supervised many students at undergraduate and postgraduate level in the field of pharmacy and has produced 2 professors and 1 associate professor. Moreover, he has over 50 publications in local and international peer-reviewed journals and books, and has attended many conferences, workshops, and seminars locally and internationally to gain knowledge and also to present papers. Professor EBOKA is a member of learned societies, several of them. I'll just name a few. A member of the Rokai Honor Society in Pharmacy. He's a member of American Pharmaceutical Association. He's a member of American Chemical Society. He's also a member of the Nigerian Society of Pharmacognosy. Due to his immense contribution to academic research and social development, he has earned prestigious awards and recognition, such as proficiency prizes in the Grammar School, Delta State, from 1967 to 1968. Best undergraduate student result in the graduation class of 1974, and member of Rokai Honor Society in Pharmacy. That's the Society of Pharmacy Students in the United States of America, with an outstanding academic performance in 1980. Professor EBOKA is an ardent Christian and belongs to several Christian organizations, such as African Students Fellowship, Madison, Nigerian Christian Graduate Fellowship with Benin Chapter, Nigerian Fellowship of Evangelical Students, NIFES, Christian Union, All Saints Chapel, and Anglican Students Fellowship, where they are served in various capacities, such as chairman or member of management. He is also Izimne Eka Karibi of St. John's Pro Cathedral, Anglican Communion, Abo, and patron at Kumaze Umoja Youth Association, Chapel. Professor EBOKA is happily married to his dear wife, Mrs. Nemi EBOKA, and their union is blessed with children. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to invite Professor CHUKWUENWENIWE Jonathan EBOKA, the Professor of Pharmaceutical Chemistry and Pharmaceutical Analysis, to deliver his inaugural lecture.
The Vice-Chancellor, sir, the Deputy Vice-Chancellors, Administration, academics, the Kema campus, the Registrar, University of Benin, the Bursar, the Librarian, Provost of the College of Medical Sciences, Deans and Directors, members of the Governing Council of the University of Benin, members of Senate, academic and non-academic colleagues, my lords, spiritual and temporal, greatest Univen students, members of the press, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. It gives me great pleasure to present the 216th lecture in the inaugural series of University of Benin, titled "That They May Have Good Quality Drugs for Improved Quality of Life." The outline of my lecture is as shown. I will start this lecture by going through the creation story as written in the Bible. The Bible in Genesis chapter 1 verse 1 says, "In the beginning God created heaven and earth, and the earth was void and formless. And God said, let there be light, and there was light. God examined the light he made and found that it was good. He then created the land and the seas, and saw that what he created was good. He also created the sun, the moon, and the stars, and saw it was good. And finally, he created man in his own image and likeness to have dominion over the created things. And God saw all that he had made, and it was very good." This attribute of God in taking of something, of creating it, designing it and creating it, and examining it, testing it, to see whether what he had in mind met the requirements they had, formed the basis of what we call quality assurance, and a system that is carried throughout all the systems in everyday life. For example, in cooking, you peel the yam and you pound it. At a certain point, you put your hand to test the texture of what you have cooked. And you will know whether the yam you have cooked and pounded has met your specification. Also, even in education, after we have taught students along the line, we test them probably several times to find out whether what we have taught them, they have understood it. And essentially at the end, we give a comprehensive examination. That's a form of quality assurance. But for today, we want to look at drugs, the quality of drugs, the basis for ascertaining whether the drugs we have, whether they are good or not. What are drugs? Drugs are substances we take to make us feel better. I'm sure many of us here today must have taken one drug or the other. Especially for the elderly, we take supplements to support us. Praise the Lord. We need it. Also, drugs are substances to prevent, alleviate, treat, or cure our illnesses. Drugs are substances or combination of substances presented for the treatment or prevention of diseases, for diagnostic purposes, or for restoring, correcting, or modifying physiological functions in humans or animals. They are mainly chemical substances. They have official names and they have chemical structure. Embedded in the chemical structure is every property of the drug. And these drugs, every one and each of them, has unique properties, such as physiochemical properties, biological properties, pharmacological properties. It's the properties of the drug that make the drug to behave the way it behaves. The properties of the drug determine the handling of the drug, the administration of the drug, where the drug is absorbed, how the drug is transported in the body, the metabolism and the excretion of the drug, and the pharmacological activity of the drug. Different drugs have different pharmacological activities because of their nature. And we say that even the properties of the drug determine the nature of the drug. Also, the structure of the drug determines how the drug can be detected and how the drug can be quantified. And different drugs have different properties. What are good quality drugs? Good quality drugs are drugs that are well prepared. With respect, for example, to appearance, you look at a good quality drug, you know, it will be appealing, elegant. You know, you admire it, and sometimes you even tempted to swallow it, even without prescription. Also, not only are they well prepared, they are also well prepared with respect to the ingredients that exist in them, that are in them, and they are also well prepared through the procedures they pass through. They are also drugs that meet official specifications and standards. Every drug has its own official specifications and standards. More importantly, a good quality drug is a drug that behaves the way it is supposed to behave all the time. Not some of the time, but all the time. And a good quality drug is a drug that achieves the desired aim for which it is meant. For example, if you are taking a drug for headache, the good quality drug for headache will relieve your headache. For anti-malaria, a good anti-malaria will relieve you of your malaria. Because there are chemical substances the preparation of good quality drugs, the manufacture, the production of good quality drugs, and GMP. It is the desire of every government that drugs in circulation and are available to the citizenry be of good quality. That is the desire of every government. It is also the desire of every pharmaceutical company that is producing drugs, that is drugs that emanate from their company be of good quality. But more importantly, it is the desire of every consumer that the drug he or she buys is of good quality. And this desire is not just a desire or a wish, but it is a project that must be achieved. The preparation, the manufacture of good quality drugs involves many processes and procedures. Because of the importance of the availability of good quality drugs, the World Health Organization has given a comprehensive consideration to how good quality drugs should be produced by setting up GMP, good manufacturing practice. And if that GMP is reviewed to the current state, we call it GMP, current good manufacturing practice. What is GMP? It is a system for ensuring that drug products are consistently produced and controlled according to quality standards. Not just producing anything you like, but it must meet quality standards. Because many processes are involved. Each process in the production of good quality drug has written procedure and guidelines. GMP has written procedure and guidelines that must be followed by the manufacturing industry. Everybody that is manufacturing, say aspirin for example, has to follow the GMP for aspirin. GMP has established official guidelines from, say, raw materials. Say the tablets of aspirin you see, it's not all made of acetylsalicylic acid. There are other ingredients that are there. We call them raw materials. The raw materials have specifications, official specifications that must be met. You don't just buy any acetylsalicylic acid powder and carry it into the lab. It must be of the finest grade, usually referred to them as pharmaceutical grade acetylsalicylic acid. Also, every raw material that must be used in the production of aspirin must meet the specifications for that particular raw material. Also, the premises. You don't just establish your pharmaceutical manufacturing premises anyhow, put it anyhow, locate it anyhow, or put it in any kind of building. There are specifications, there are standards that must be met by the premises. Also, the equipment you are going to use. Sometimes the equipment gets obsolete. Your equipment must be modern and current. There are specifications for the equipment you are going to use. The training of staff. You don't just gather people, whether graduates or non-graduates. They must have basic training. They must have basic knowledge. They must acquire the know-how of what they are going to do, and they must do it according to specification. Even the hygiene of the staff, they are also written in the good manufacturing practice. These guidelines are usually very stringent, and as we go on, we will bring it out. Very, very stringent, so that you don't just prepare drugs anyhow. You must follow approved official procedures. The procedures and the guidelines must be strictly followed. It doesn't say because I have been producing aspirin, you just walk from your head. No. You must follow each of the guidelines as specified in the GMP. Good quality drugs must not just be desired, they must be built in during drug production. Why is GMP necessary? GMP is necessary because it minimizes risks. It prevents errors and it assures that mistakes do not occur during drug production. This is significant because it's the mistakes, the errors that will make the drug production or the drug a good drug or a bad one. Also during the production, because there are several processes, tests are carried out along the line to guide the production team. Tests are carried out to know whether they are producing the right, getting the right results. Tests are done and results are obtained and compared to what it should be. And if it is, exactly what it should be, they know that they are doing a good job. The results of tests must meet set official values for the process. So there are values that must be met. If you carry out a test and it doesn't meet the official value, it means you have done something wrong. And usually in the laboratory, in the manufacturing company, you stop at that stage. You don't proceed further. You try to find out what you have done wrong, to correct it if it is possible to correct it, but you don't go further. The procedures followed, the equipment used, and the results obtained must be documented, and at the end, general tests are carried out. Remember in creation, at the end of creation, God looked at all he had created, and he found that it was very good. In drug production, at the end of the production, there's what we call official tests. You carry them, several of them, with respect to the chemical content. Is it present or absent? If it is present, how much of it is present? We carry out disintegration test. With the tablet, for example, you have made, will it disintegrate when you take it? We also carry out the solution test. Will it dissolve? And we also carry out bioavailability. Will the drug be released at the right time, in the right amount, to bring about the therapeutic effect that is required? Also, the results obtained must be documented. The results obtained must meet official specifications and standards. There are official specifications and standards for the tests are enumerated, and the results must meet the official specifications. The documented procedures followed, and the results obtained must be submitted to the National Drug Regulatory Body. In Nigeria, we have NAFDAC as the National Drug Regulatory Body. All the results you have obtained, you have documented, you submit it to NAFDAC. The Drug Regulatory Body ensures and assures that all official specifications and standards have been met. Thereafter, a certificate of approval is issued for the batch. for that batch. And I want to say that that certificate of approval does not cover other batches, but is specific for that batch. For imported drugs, the certificate of analysis is required from the company where the drug is being imported to see how they have carried out their production, whether they have done it according to laid down procedure. Also, samples are taken from the imported drug. Tests are carried out by the drug regulatory body to ensure that set official specifications and standards are met. If they have been met, then certificate of approval that allows you to take the drug into the market is issued. So both for the imported drug and for the locally manufactured drug, unless you get the certificate of approval, you cannot send your product into the market. If there are good quality drugs, there are also bad quality drugs. What are bad quality drugs? These are drugs that do not meet the aim they were intended. Say you want to take a drug for headache. A bad quality drug for headache will not meet that need. It will not relieve you of your headache. There are also drugs that are badly prepared. There are some drugs you see, even when you bring them out, a lot of powder on your hand. There are scratches all over the place. There are even dark spots all over the place. Those are bad quality drugs. They are not well prepared. There are drugs that have not met official specifications and standards. There are drugs that have not been approved by the National Drug Regulatory Body. This is important. There is no way the National Drug Regulatory Body will approve that a bad quality drug will go into circulation. There are different types of bad quality drugs. They include counterfeit drugs, false or falsified drugs, fake drugs, substandard drugs, unregistered, adulterated and expired drugs. There are several of them, and there are consequences of using bad quality drugs. One of the major consequences of using bad quality drugs are dangerous to human health. Not only are they dangerous, sometimes they can even cause death. But more importantly, they cause what we call therapeutic failure, treatment failure. You are taking them, but you are not getting any relief from your ailment. They are also very difficult to detect. We are talking of the identification and detection of bad quality drugs. Most of the time they are made to look similar to good quality drugs. And to the untrained eye, it is difficult to distinguish between a good quality drug and a bad quality drug. But there are certain things you can do. Say, by examining the packet, to look at the finishing, even the packet. You see, in pharmacy, we lay a lot of emphasis on elegance, appearance. And if you look at the packet, and the packet looks raw, looks untidy, and you also examine what we call the manufacturing date, the expiry date, the batch number, the NAFDAC number, these are indicators, and compare with the leaflet inside. They must agree. The information and the packet and the leaflet inside must agree. But more importantly, look out for spelling errors. There was a study we were doing on ofloxacin. The spelling of ofloxacin was wrong. Right from there, we suspected that it would be a bad quality drug, and eventually ended up to be a bad quality drug. Also, if you look at a drug with an awful smell, take for instance aspirin that we have been taking as our example, has an awful smell. It doesn't smell like aspirin. You suspect it. If it is discolored, you suspect it. So there are many indicators. But the only way we can ascertain and prove that a drug is of good quality or not is through chemical, physical, biological tests to see whether they contain what they are expected to contain at the right amount and are able to release those drugs as and when required. We want to say that bad quality drugs, there's proliferation of bad quality drugs in every region of the world, including the advanced countries, but it is more in the developing world. Proliferation of bad quality drugs is more especially in the African region, where you can get up to 10 to 50% of drugs in circulation to be of bad quality. Mr. Vice-Chancellor, that at this stage I want to give example of what we are talking about through the personal experiences I have gotten myself. There is what we call the mandatory course for the recertification of pharmacists. In the Module 5, I was taking the aspect of tests of drugs and monographs. The monographs give us the specifications and standards for each of the drugs. Shortly after I started the lecture, a man, I saw him raising his hand to ask questions. You know you are giving time, as I'm giving time for this lecture, I told him to wait till the time of interaction. But he kept his hand up consistently, so I ignored him. At the end of the lecture, I now allowed him to ask his question. He claimed that he came all the way from Abia State and that he's a drug manufacturer. And it was because of that particular topic that he was attending the module that he had 3 questions. The first question is it possible in Nigeria to have all the manufacturing equipment, analytical equipment required to test, to manufacture the drugs in Nigeria, considering our economy? Second question was, is it fair to have the same standards in developing countries with the developed countries, the same specifications? And thirdly, how can somebody sit in an exam and score, say, 95%, sometimes 98.5%, and the person be adjudged to have failed? 3 very important questions. In our discussion, we all agree, if you don't have the equipment to manufacture, you shouldn't manufacture. Alternatively, if you lack the equipment, you can carry the things you have done in your company to a facility where those equipment are available. They're what we call contract manufacture. They will follow the official procedures using their equipment. Do what you want them to do for you. When you are now submitting your record to the regulatory body, you must include the results obtained from those equipment because it is required. So you can do contract manufacture. There is no way you can submit half a requirement to the drug regulatory body and it will be accepted. If you don't have all the equipment, they are quite costly, expensive. You can do contract manufacture. The second one, about standards. Health has only one standard. Health has only one global standard. If you have headache, you have headache. If you are relieved of the headache, you are relieved of the headache. Whether you are in New York, in London, it is the same standard. There is no difference where you are. You must meet. And thirdly, remember I said that the requirements are usually very stringent, especially with respect to the raw materials. If they say the chemical content of the raw material must meet at least 99.5% to 100.5%, and you score 95%, should the drug be accepted? No. You have failed the exam. The pass mark is 99.5%. Even when you have scored 98.5%, you have still failed. The standards should not be compromised. You don't beg it. If it has failed, it has failed. And usually what we say is the product is what? Rejected. The rejected product. The second example was the experience I had as a teaching assistant when I was doing my PhD at Madison. We were teaching students how to prepare suspensions. Suspension. Usually before the students come to do their own practical, the teaching assistants would have gone into the lab and follow the procedure and make sure that they worked to give a good product. And when the students came in and followed the procedure, if they got it right, they will score an S, satisfactory. Otherwise, they will score a U, unsatisfactory. And what are the things we are looking out for in the preparation of suspensions? One is uniformity. The suspension must be uniform throughout. Two, there must be no lumps. There must be no lumps. See some suspensions, when you see them, as even when you have shaken, there are still lumps. Three, after shaking, there's what we call tropic effect. It must be freely pourable. So we test these things and we look at the leveling. There was this Iranian student who scored an U in one of the suspension practicals. Usually at the end, towards the exam, the week before the exam, students are allowed to make up their unsatisfactory scores to satisfactory. On the scheduled date, we all entered the lab with other people who had U's. Within 10 minutes, this Iranian student brought his product. That's a repeat now of what he had done before. And full of lumps. And of course, if it is full of lumps, it cannot be poured. So even after you had shaken, and it was rough, it was not uniform, and immediately I scored him a U. I thought the problem he had was with his weighing. I told him, be careful with your weight. He told me, sir, I know how to weigh. He went back for the second time, and within 10 minutes again, he brought another product, similar to the first one. Still lot of lumps, difficult to pour. So the third time, I had to follow him. Meanwhile, the other students who had followed the approved procedure had gotten the right product, and they had left the lab. So it was left himself and myself in the lab. He was murmuring, I was angry myself because he was wasting my time. So I stayed with him to weigh. He weighed correctly the different ingredients. There are so many ingredients you need to put to prepare a suspension. So I thought the problem was over. I said, okay, now you go and prepare your. He still went and brought the product that was still bad. I was angry. And he started. That is when I knew that Iranians have very bad temperament. You know. He said, why? I'm discriminating against him because he's a foreigner. I said myself, I'm a foreigner. Why should I score the Americans satisfactory and I keep scoring him unsatisfactory? So both of us went back again. This is the fourth time now to weigh all the ingredients. And I followed him to where he was preparing the suspension. What was he doing? Everything he had weighed, all the components, he poured all of them into the mortar and was now using his pestle to break them up. I asked him, what are you doing? He said, he's preparing his product. I said, no, this is not the procedure for preparing the product. Component A should be put in the mortar, broken down with the pestle into fine particles, and component B added a little at a time with mixing and still further breaking up. That will now form a base for component C that you will slowly add with mixing. That product will now form the base for D to come in, and so on and so on. He says, sir, why are you wasting your time? Just, they are all going into the same preparation. Just do it. And so I told him that That is the essence of this example. You must follow the approved procedure. Go and prepare. We now kept that product you had prepared. You now followed the approved procedure, which was well spelled out in the handout. And by the time he brought it, even himself, he was smiling. And he apologized. In preparing good quality drugs, you don't do it anyhow. You may have the finest ingredients, but if you don't follow the approved procedure, you will get a bad product. We have been talking about how you do this thing. Mr. Vice-Chancellor, sir, I want to talk briefly on some of the work we have done and our contributions in ascertaining, making sure that drugs that are available are of good quality. Critical in assessing drugs whether they are of good quality or not is analytical method development. I have mentioned that tests, whether chemical, physical, biological, and instrumental, are carried out at different stages of the manufacture of good quality drugs. And even thereafter, from time to time, we monitor the drugs that are in circulation and see if they are still of good quality. And tests must be developed to ascertain whether these drugs are of good quality or not. We require in pharmaceutical analysis that test methods must be simple, they must be fast, they must be accurate, they must be precise, they must be reproducible, sensitive, and specific. These are requirements of tests that are required. I want to talk of the fastness of tests, because we are going to do this and advise the people who are in the production line. You don't need tests that will last for a whole day or for a whole week or for many hours. The results must be produced immediately. The results must be interpreted and to tell them, yes, you are doing well or you are not doing well. Also, basic in the test, we must be able to identify and quantify the pharmaceutical ingredients. The tablet of acetylsalicylic acid, does it have acetylsalicylic acid? And how much, what is the percentage content or purity of the acetylsalicylic acid? The first thing we looked at was mixture analysis. Sometimes you have drugs that contain 2, 3, and rarely 4 components in the same drug. And we know that pharmacists are experts in mixtures. For 2, 3, and 4 component mixture analysis, the traditional method of analysis is by simultaneous equation. If they absorb light in the ultraviolet and visible region, data are collected at 2, 3, or 4 wavelengths, and the simultaneous equation is set up. And anytime we talk of simultaneous equation, many people begin to tremble because simultaneous equation has destroyed many people. The method gives full results if there are no spectral overlap amongst the components. But when there is spectral overlap, the results are not usually very good. We are able to develop a method that uses data throughout the entire spectral range, not just at 2, 3, or 4 wavelengths, but the entire spectral range. And this method gave very accurate results for 2, 3, and 4 components. We also developed a regular triangular plot for 3 component mixtures, and depending, based on the success of that regular triangular plot, we are able to develop a regular tetrahedral plot for 4 components. The developed methods were more accurate than the traditional simultaneous equation. We also looked at alcohol analysis. Alcohols are ubiquitous in nature. You encounter alcohols everywhere. And they are commonly used in pharmaceutical, food, brewery, and cosmetic industries for several purposes. The traditional method for the analysis of alcohols is by use of gas chromatography after acetylation, usually at high temperatures. But in pharmaceutical systems, we don't like to work at high temperatures because some of the ingredients in pharmaceutical systems may be heat sensitive. So we prefer methods that operate at room temperature. And that is why we prefer high performance liquid chromatography. High performance liquid chromatography operates at room temperature. There is no heating that is required. We are able to develop a fast high performance liquid chromatographic method for alcohol analysis using transcinnamoid group as the spectrophotometric tag. The cinnamoid group has a good chromophore, and when we use it to tag alcohols, the alcohols acquire ability to absorb UV visible light. But because of the large group of the large cinnamoid group, the reaction is usually very slow, so we needed a catalyst. At that point, 2 catalysts were introduced in our labs in Madison. 4-NN dimethylminopyridine and N-methyl imidazole, so that in the presence of these catalysts, by simple mixing of the alcohol and the cinnamoid group, the reaction occurred readily at room temperature. We are able to identify and quantify alcohols sensitively using this method. We also looked at derivative spectrophotometry in drug analysis. When we are putting drugs together, those other things you add that are not part of the active drug, we refer to them as excipients. Just as the drugs have their own inherent UV visible absorption, some of the excipients also have their own absorption. So when we want to analyze them, we have to selectively extract the drug out first before we can do the analysis. But derivative spectrophotometry is an elegant way to improve the identification, and because it produces, furnishes more spectral features for the drug, for the identification of drug, and also minimizes the interference by excipients. Those of us who did math know that as you take the first derivative of absorbance, which is a function of wavelength, you begin to diminish some of the interferences. So we are able to apply derivative spectrophotometry in the first derivative and second derivative to accurately assay drugs in the presence of spectral interference in tablets, in syrups, and in suspensions, without, first of all, extracting either the excipients or extracting the drug. Mr. Vice-Chancellor, sir, I want to say that this study was for the award of the first postgraduate degree in the Department of Pharmaceutical Chemistry. We also developed colorimetric method for assay of fluoroquinolones. The traditional method for the assay of fluoroquinolones was either microbiological method or using high performance liquid chromatography. Both methods give very accurate results. However, the microbiological method is slow. It requires a minimum of 24 to 30 hours to complete a single assay. Remember, we have said for pharmaceutical analysis, we need methods that are very fast. Also, high performance liquid chromatography is fast, gives very good results, but it's not readily available. I don't think there's a working high performance liquid chromatography in the University of Benin, even up to now. But we observe that by simply mixing solutions of fluoroquinolones with ferric nitrate monohydrate, an amber color that was stable, that was formed instantaneously, was produced. So we investigated that color formation for the development of a method for the assay of fluoroquinolones. The method developed was simple. It was just by simply mixing the solutions. The amber color is formed and is the color that we now follow. Whether it was quantitative to the fluoroquinolones, it was cheap, it was fast, it was accurate, because we compared our results to what we had using the microbiological method. We are also interested in drug-drug interaction. You can have a good quality drug, but because of other drugs you are taking, you can interact and bring, I would say, the quality or the effectiveness of the good quality down. Or, in very rare cases, it may enhance it. We observed that fluoroquinolones are new synthetic antibacterial agents with wide spectrum of activity against gram-positive and gram-negative organisms. They have good pharmacodynamic and good pharmacokinetic properties. When administered orally, they are easily absorbed. They cross tissues and penetrate organs and attain high levels, even in tissues and organs, far higher than the minimum inhibitory concentrations for most organisms. However, it was observed that in the presence of metallic ions, the bioavailability and the activity of the fluoroquinolones were significantly reduced. Several reasons were profiled to explain these clinical findings. There was need, therefore, to thoroughly understand, investigate, understand, and explain the observed findings. So we decided to carry out in vitro studies to measure the activity of fluoroquinolones alone in the presence of metacations. Not in the body now. That's what we mean by in vitro. You know, say in the test tube, and so that we know whether what they observed when it was taken in the body was due to something happening in the body or is general. Our findings, we observed that fluoroquinolones had reduced activity in vitro in the presence of metacations. However, the extent of reduced activity in vitro was not as much as observed in vivo. The trend of reduction was, however, similar to in vivo results. Therefore, we took it that same mechanisms may be involved. However, different metals reduced activity to different extents. Divalent and trivalent metal ions reduced activity more than the monovalent cations. And we found out that the reduction of activity was due to the formation of drug-metal coordination complex, which was more hydrated, more polar, more ionic than the fluoroquinolone alone. We are saying that when in the presence of metacations, fluoroquinolones form a coordination complex, which is more hydrated, more polar, and more ionic. The implication of more polar is that in the presence of metacations, when this coordination complex is formed, the coordination complex is less able to penetrate the wall of the GIT because it is lipoidal in nature. So a polar substance cannot penetrate easily. Secondly, the cell wall of most bacteria are also lipoidal in nature. It will be difficult for this coordination complex, the little that has penetrated, to also be able to penetrate the cell wall of bacteria, to get into the nucleus of the bacteria, to either kill the bacteria. We therefore recommended that fluoroquinolones should not be co-administered with drugs containing metal ions. If the need arises for both drugs to be used, we should stagger the administration of the drugs. To explain the difference in extent of reduction between in vivo and in vitro results, we proposed that other factors such as aqueous solubility and partition behavior will be playing key roles. And when we are talking of drug transport in the body, these are critical factors to examine. We therefore studied the aqueous solubility and partition behavior of fluoroquinolones alone and fluoroquinolones in the presence of metal ions. We found out that the aqueous solubility of the fluoroquinolones increased in the presence of different metal ions. As the quantity of metal ion increases, the aqueous solubility increases. Also, we found out that divalent and trivalent metal ions increased aqueous solubility more than monovalent ions. The solubility of fluoroquinolones in aqueous buffer and in N-butanol were not thermodynamically favored. It's not something that can just occur on its own. That is what we mean by not thermodynamically favored. Also, the partition of fluoroquinolones from the aqueous phase to N-butanol. N-butanol is used to mimic a non-polar phase. Was also not thermodynamically favored. But more importantly, we found that divalent and trivalent metallic ion depressed the partition of fluoroquinolones from the aqueous buffer to N-butanol more than monovalent metal ions. These findings were able to now explain fully what was observed clinically. We were interested in the investigation of plants with biological activity. Plants are commonly used in traditional medical practice, and plants are natural sources and reservoirs of healing power. Biologically active drugs, such as aspirin, we have been talking about, quinine, increasing blasting, have been isolated and characterized, extracted from plants. Also, other compounds, they may not be very active, have active biological activity, but through chemical modification of their structures, very active drugs have been produced. So we say that plants are lead compounds, source of lead compounds, even in the modern pharmaceutical industry. We have investigated some plants used in traditional medicine and authenticated their claimed uses. Some have been said to, have pain relieving effect, others hypotensive properties, and so on and so forth. And we are able to demonstrate that those effects, those activities are exactly as claimed. Also, recently, we have ventured into the biologically active compounds obtained as secondary metabolites of plant endophytes. This is a new area of plant research. Endophytes are fungi that live symbiotically in plants. They don't harm the plant doesn't harm them. They exist symbiotically. These endophytes can be isolated from the plants, purified, characterized, and grown. And solid-state fermentation of these endophytes can be carried out to yield secondary metabolites that may have biological activity. And the advantage of using endophytes, usually if you are doing plant research, you need large quantity to isolate a very small amount. But using plant endophytes, you are just using a tiny strip of either the leaf, the stem bark, or the root bark. From there you isolate the endophyte, you can grow it, and you can, either by increasing the length of time for the fermentation or the volume of the fermentation medium, you can increase the quantity of biologically active products obtained from them. We have isolated several endophytes from plants and investigated their secondary metabolites for biological activity. We have also documented that plant endophytes are alternative and reliable sources for anti-cancer agents. Applications. The things we have done in our study are not just for academic exercise. We have produced test methods that can be used to authenticate whether a drug is of good quality or not. And we have also used other methods to ascertain whether drugs have good quality. I want to say that when we are facing serious issues with the quality of drugs, we are able to serve as consultants both to the University of Benin Teaching Hospital and to Psychiatric Hospital Benin. They will bring products from the contractors to us, and we have to authenticate whether they are of good quality or not. Acknowledgement. I wish to acknowledge the Almighty God for giving me physical and abundant life. I am what I am today by His special grace. To Him alone be all the glory in the name of Jesus. I want to thank the Vice-Chancellor, University of Benin, Professor F.F.O. Orumwense, FNSE, my in-law, for making this lecture possible. I thank all the team of management staff, the Deputy Vice-Chancellor's administration, Professor Morui, academic, Professor Akin, my brother, and Professor Abolagwa, Ekema Campus, Abo. I want to thank the registrar, Mrs. Oshodi, the bursar, Dr. Imagbe, and the librarian, Dr. Basui. I also want to thank all the former vice-chancellors and their management teams for the past 44 years I have worked with them. With our vice-chancellors, I can proudly say that I'm the longest serving staff in the University of Benin. I think the University of Benin owes me an award for 44 years of continuous unbroken service. I've been involved in the training and production of quality pharmacists these 44 years. Pharmacists that have distinguished themselves all over the world. Make proud to say that Unimed pharmacists are flying the flag of University of Benin very, very high. I thank Professor T.M. Yusufu, who encouraged me to join the staff of University of Benin. As the best graduating student of my university, they were waiting for me. But when I attended the interview, he so much encouraged me. Even when I came back from youth service, there were other offers. I said, because of what they, in those days, when you see a vice-chancellor, you don't see them, often. And for vice-chancellor to encourage you to enjoy his team, I think it was an honor. I thank you, Prof. I also thank Professor Adamu Baiki, who was the chairman at our wedding. I also thank Professor Ale Williams, also Professor Onoke Harai, Professor Nago, Professor Manze, and Professor Oshodi. I want to especially acknowledge my uncle and his wife, the former registrar of the University of Benin, Sir and Lady Akin. Former Deputy Vice-Chancellors, Professor Obiora, Professor Imoge. Imoge, we have been together right from Ife to United States of America, and we came back to University of Benin. Professor Kamafe, Professor Okoye, Professor Basekiebo, Professor Libere, Professor Zemoyen, Professor Falado. He's a big man now, but he's still my student. Professor Ajerabo, Professor Eria Remu, the king of the boys. I also acknowledge my friend, Professor Ajerabo and Professor Eria Remu. Acknowledge and thank you, University of Benin, for the award of a postgraduate scholarship to the federal government for the award of an undergraduate scholarship. We were sent abroad to the best universities in the world by University of Benin. I wish to recommend that we should still go back to that system. I acknowledge my present Dean of Pharmacy, Professor Orumwense. The name is always difficult to spell. And all the former deans of the Faculty of Pharmacy, especially Professor L.I.L. Ndika, the father and the lion of pharmacy, University of Benin. I also thank Professor Obiamu, Professor Obiora, Professor Hubo, Professor Basekiebo, Professor Esterikaya, may his soul rest in peace, Professor Kamafe, Professor Oko, Professor Osifo, Professor Osazua Ewe, and Professor Akin. I acknowledge all the academic and non-academic staff of Faculty of Pharmacy throughout these years for providing a friendly and conducive atmosphere for creative and fruitful work. I acknowledge my present head of department, Dr. Ibinaduwa, and all the former heads of department, especially Dr. Idemudia, who was the pioneer academic staff of the department. I also acknowledge with due respect and profoundly Professor Abakuru Ogana, and also Professor Adelusi. I also acknowledge all the academic and non-academic staff of the department. We have laid a foundation of thoroughness and excellence in the department. We pray that we continue in them and keep the flag of the department flying. I acknowledge the deans and all academic staff of the faculties of Pharmacy and Pharmaceutical Sciences of University of Lagos, Delta State University. Incidentally, one of my products is the Dean of Pharmacy at Delta State University. University of Nigeria and Nnamdi Azikiwe University. I acknowledge my supervisor at the undergraduate level, Professor Bunkoya. He stimulated my interest in academic research. I most profoundly acknowledge my supervisor at the postgraduate level, Professor Connors. He taught me thoroughness and diligence in research investigations. I acknowledge my teachers during my postgraduate studies, Professors Zografi, Mukachi, Emidon, Robinson, Welling, and Casterson. They were all trailblazers and renowned in their respective areas of specialization. It was a rare privilege to learn under such a great academic team. I acknowledge all the postgraduate and undergraduate students I supervised, among whom are Mr. Adesan. He was the first to get a postgraduate degree in the Department of Pharmaceutical Chemistry. Also acknowledge Mr. Solomon Ibabwa, an intelligent young man that left the University of Benin because of ASU strike. The University of Benin lost a scholar in him. I also acknowledge Professor Deko, former head of department, Department of Pharmaceutical Chemistry, University of Lagos. Professor Okeri, Dr. Onyebule, I think he's here, former head of department of Pharmacognosy and Traditional Medicine at Azikiwe University. Dr. Abad, the current head of Department of Pharmaceutical and Medicinal Chemistry at Azikiwe University. Also, I acknowledge Dr. Nwachukwu, the Deputy Director in NAFDAC, Dr. Ajebu. Mr. Njoku is also here, a restless, intelligent young man. Mr. Smart Johnson, Mr. Afolabi, also in NAFDAC, and Dr. Obede, Mrs. Otoy, and Mr. Wiko. You are all doing very well in your careers. It was a great joy working with you. I acknowledge all my undergraduate and postgraduate students for the past 44 years. I want to say one of the happiest moments I had as a staff is in the classroom. When you are exchanging ideas, interacting with your students, it is joy to have worked with you. I always told them at the beginning of every lecture, do you have any question to ask? Speak now or forever. I also acknowledge my colleagues. We started this academic journey together as graduate assistants. Professors Iwagu, Obaseki, and Provosti, Professor Ebegwe. Provosti, I want to tell you, you have to wait for a while. I will hand over the baton to you. But don't disturb me yet. I acknowledge my uncle, Professor S.E.N. Oko. I also acknowledge my bosom friend and his wife, Professor and Mrs. Iyawe. I acknowledge the President Chaplain of All Saints Chapel, Uniben UBTH, Venerable Ewenusi, and all former chaplains of the chapel, namely Right Reverend Babajide, Venerable Ehizoke, Right Reverend Adeleye, and Venerable Makum. I thank them for their spiritual guidance and prayers. I also acknowledge all the assistant chaplains in the chapel, past and present, Very Reverend Jackson and Very Reverend Awe, all the serving priests in the chapel, namely Venerable Professor Mwadian, my own brother, Venerable Professor Oyedeji, Very Reverend Dr. Sibani, Hanan Obebo, Reverend Iwozo, Reverend Nanti, and Reverend Waila. I acknowledge all the members of All Saints Chapel, and especially the president and members of All Saints Men's Fellowship and the Bible Study Committee. I acknowledge the national president and members of Nigerian Christian Graduate Fellowship, president and members of Nigerian Christian Graduate Fellowship Benin Chapter, president and members of the Christian Union, president and members of All Saints Students Fellowship, president and members Anglican Students Fellowship, president and members Akumazu Mocha Progressive Union Benin Branch, Akumazu Youth Association Benin Branch, and Otu Ifunanya Benin Branch. I acknowledge the chairman, fellows, and members of the Pharmaceutical Society of Nigeria, Edo, Delta, and Anambra State branches. I acknowledge all my friends and well-wishers. I want to say that the acknowledgement was the most difficult part of this lecture. In case I have not mentioned the group you belong to, you see that I'm mentioning groups. In case I have not mentioned your group, please accept my apologies. I acknowledge the profound love, care, and provision of my great-grandmothers, namely Mama Oboko and Mama Akokwan. My grandparents, Chief and Mrs. Ezago Yomiri of Owerri. My beloved parents, Chief and Mrs. Okafor EBOKA. All my uncles and aunties. I thank all of you for the value you have added to my life. I want to thank most especially my uncle, Mr. Alfred Igwe Ezago, alias Onyechukwu. You taught and inculcated in me the essentials of life. Your contributions to making me who I am today will remain indelible throughout my life. I also thank your wife, Mrs. Veronica Ezago, who continued in your stead when you passed on. I acknowledge the love of all my siblings and their families. I acknowledge my aunt, Mrs. Kafueku Ujubo, all my cousins, nephews and nieces, many of them are present here. I acknowledge the profound love of my in-laws, Mr. and Mrs. Barnabas A. Kikibo, and their children and family. Thank you for accepting me as a son in the family. I acknowledge the 4 precious and lovely children the Lord has blessed us with. Thank you for all the joy and fulfillment you have brought into our life. Finally, I acknowledge my beloved wife, my mother, my sister, my father, the kind hearted and virtuous woman, Dr. EBOKA. Thank you for accepting me as your husband. Thank you for all your tireless labor. Good quality drugs are essential for improving the quality of life of the citizenry, as we have demonstrated. One thing is that consumers must get value for their money, and that is what they do if they have good quality drugs. This builds confidence in the consumer and also builds confidence in the health system. One of the major drawbacks of bad quality drugs is that when you take it and you are not getting the expected results, you lose confidence not only in the drug, you lose confidence in yourself, you lose confidence in the doctor that is treating you, and you lose confidence in the health system. But good quality drugs averts all those. To achieve good quality drugs, NAFDAC, that is the regulatory body, must play more active roles in the control and regulation of drugs in circulation. They are the ones who have, I didn't talk of the legal aspect of GMP and NAFDAC. They are the ones who will say, your premises is closed, and it is closed. There's nothing you can do about it. So they should play more active roles to make sure, to ensure that good quality drugs are in circulation. Also, our borders need proper and effective control to prevent entry of unwholesome drugs into the country. You travel to Benin Republic, you travel to Niger, you can easily get drugs and you bring them in very easily. It should not be allowed. And NAFDAC regional and state offices should be properly equipped with state-of-the-art equipment and properly trained personnel to carry out their duties. You can see that some of my students are in NAFDAC, and this is what I tell them all the time. More effort should be exerted to control open drug markets to bring to the minimum bad quality drugs. Bad quality drugs are known to be found more in street markets, in open markets, and NAFDAC should pay more attention to ascertaining that all the drugs that are in such markets are of good quality. But more importantly, I want to say that drug distribution channel in Nigeria is seriously recommended. What we mean by drug distribution channel? You don't just buy your drug, either wholesale or retail, from anywhere. You buy your drugs only from approved sources. But these days, people are carrying drugs, mostly unwholesome drugs, in Ghana must go. And they bring it anywhere, and they sell it, and people buy it. This is how the bad quality drugs are in circulation. I also want to say that medical practice in Nigeria should be modernized. What do I mean by modernization of medical practice? In the cultivation of the plants, in the harvesting of the plants, in the preservation of the plants, in the preparation of the dosage forms, and in the actual dosage forms of the herbal drugs. These are places where there's a lot of, problem. And to achieve this, it requires synergy between traditional practitioners and academics. The traditional practitioners are usually very secretive. They don't want to divulge the information they have. In the booklet, I talked about my great-grandmother who was blind in both eyes, a great herbalist, but she died with all her knowledge. Nobody in the family took it over. I also recommend that the Nigerian GMP and pharmacopoeia be done. We should not just be relying on USP, BP. We should have a pharmacopoeia and a GMP that is indigenous to Nigeria. More importantly, there must be regular supply of light and water for indigenous drug manufacturers to operate properly. For example, one of the processes in the production of drugs, say for tablets, is drying. And they will tell you, dry at so temperature for so many hours. In the middle of the drying, light goes. There is no way you are going to follow the recommended procedure effectively. Even when the light is brought back, are you going to start from the beginning? No. You can see this regular supply of light and water is of utmost importance. Stiff penalties must be meted to offenders to serve as deterrent. We're talking again about the legal aspect, and individuals must take their personal health issues more seriously with respect to where they buy their drugs. I want to say the quality of drugs should be of utmost importance or consideration more than the cost. And I feel that the Most High, who has made it possible, be all glory, honor, and praise in the name of the Lord Jesus Christ.
Another round of applause for our inaugural lecture. As we take our seats, may I invite his immediate family to please join him up here as the Vice-Chancellor decorates. University of Benin. We are indeed very grateful that you are all here. May God bless you all abundantly. The list before me is always long, but for today we want to especially thank all our emeritus professors. Emeritus Professor Mrs. R.O. Elao, we want to welcome you. Emeritus Professor F.F.O, we recognize you. Emeritus Professor T.O.K. Audu. I want to recognize the presence of the one-time Deputy Vice-Chancellor, Academic of the University of Benin, now Rector Edo State Polytechnic, Hussein, Professor F.F.O. We recognize the presence of Venerable David A. Gwenusi, Chaplain All Saints Chapel. We also recognize his assistant, Reverend Awe. We recognize the presence of Professor S.C.N. Oku. We welcome you. Professor Akin retired. We want to recognize the presence. We welcome you, sir. Justice and Professor Mrs. Olubo, we want to welcome you. Thank you very much for coming around. The inaugural lecture monitor, Professor A.C. Ugu, we recognize you. The immediate past Deputy Vice-Chancellor, Administration of the University of Benin, Professor Deko, we want to welcome you. It will interest you to know that whenever they want to deliver inaugural lecture, the one before their own, they must attend. Professor Obios Adolo will be delivering the next inaugural lecture and is there seated next week, Thursday. My teacher, Professor Mon Wandiani, will always tell us that there is need for us to plan. If I don't plan the time well now, he may sanction me. Prof, I want to recognize you, and then you also helped me tell Professor Issa that we have recognized him. You also helped me tell the member of council, Professor Omozuwa, that we know that he's here. We want to welcome all of you. They said those that are growing up may not know the meaning of provostic. Only the elders know. Professor Ebekwe, we want to welcome you. We recognize you very specially. Thank you very much for coming around. Professor Ada Okumbawa, a member of the Governing Council, we recognize you. Professor Onibere, one-time Deputy Vice-Chancellor, we want to welcome and recognize your presence. Honestly, those seated here, one-time this, one-time that, they are very many. The chairman, the president of ASU, I saw him earlier on, Professor Julius Yasere, we want to welcome him and recognize your presence. Immediately after this time, we shall be having a wonderful reception put together by the inaugural lecturer for all the guests. You know, when Professor Iyawe was the Provost of College of Medical Sciences, he will always tell you to do the needful. For our guests, you are expected to go there and enjoy yourself after this long lecture. Then for our students, you know you are pharmacy students. You know you have lost some weeks. So we want you to go and read and prepare for your exam. Remember, the lecturer said at the beginning of every lecture, the question is very simple. Any question or forever remain. So your refreshment will be in the classroom. Don't go to All Saints Chapel immediately after the closing formality. We shall let our students know where theirs will hold. May we pray Friday.
One
Vice-Chancellor leads the procession out of the auditorium. Students, remain outside. Stand up, go outside. The both of you follow me.